everyone, Beasty here, back with another video. A lot of people are struggling in the most recent patch in PvP, so what I've decided to do is make you guys a little guide and kind of give you input how I think, for now, people should play, and as the game develops, I'll probably be making more guides with, more recent builds and that are just better and more overall more solid, because the metagame might change and build orders will of course change with it as well. So what I'll be doing in this video is play against an AI to just show you the build order, and then I will show you how the actual build works, when you're actually in game against opponents. I'll show you some replays, and at the end of the video, once we're all done, you guys can download the replay from this build order in the description of this video or in the comment section on this video. Okay, let's get started. So a lot of people, like I said, are struggling in PvP. There's a lot of issues, and this is the build that I found success with recently. Obviously the build has some weaknesses, just like any build, and I won't be covering how to defend every single thing in the world. This is just a build order guide for you to practice, for you guys to do, and just kind of do strong timings. I'll tell you guys what you should be paying attention to, how you should be playing, and how you should be moving your army at the same time. Okay, so we're in the game right now, and I'm gonna lead you guys through the build order, through what you should be paying attention to, and kind of what you need to focus. The build still does have weaknesses. Like I said, it's a new patch. It will take time to adjust, to learn new things, and in a week even or two, this might be a build that's not the best one, but it's definitely the one that you guys can do. I played it against very, very high rated Protosses, and I did quite well with it, so it should be quite good for you guys no matter what league you're in. First things first, I'm going barracks first, so I'm not going gas into barracks, I'm going barracks first. I'm getting my gas on 16, and then with the 17th SCV you want to be scouting across the map. Now the reason for that is very simple. You need to scout if the Protoss is going proxy or not, and to make sure you won't be dying to any cheese or anything like that. The good part about this build is if you do scout Stargate, you can make one engineering bay in the main and then one missile turret. Just don't overcommit to defense if you do scout proxy Oracle, and you can even skip the Reaper and go straight into Marines if you do scout that the Protoss is one basing. Now, after the barracks is done, I'm going to send the SCV to the natural. I'm going to start my Reaper, and around this time the SCV will arrive to the natural, and you'll know if he's one basing or not. At that point you can just cancel the Reaper, make a Marine, and that's it. Let's assume this is a normal game and the Protoss is fast expanded. I'm going to make my expand as well, and SCV is going back home. I'll be making a second barracks, so this will be a 2 barracks opener. I've talked about this on my stream. I think that the factoring to starport builds are not as good now, and the reason for that is because of the Widowmine nerf. So the moment Reaper finishes, you want to start a reactor on the barracks, start a depot, and then you can send the Reaper across the map and just kind of get the following scout a little bit later. Again, this is assuming that the Protoss expanded and is not proxy. At around 23 supply, I'm adding the engineering bay, and this is for 2 reasons. First of all, it's a safe engineering bay, but also you want to be making +1 weapons very, very quick, which you guys will see. Right now, I'm going to make Marines constantly out of this barracks, and I'm going to get very, very fast tech lab on this one. Okay, my natural is about to finish. This is around the time where you can send your Reaper in and scout whatever you can scout, just to get that follow-up information to see what kind of tech he's going for. Now, I'm going to add my stim. Still making Marines, as you guys can see, and with the next 100 gas after stim started, I'm going to get +1 weapons as well. Now, I'm going to pause right here just for a second. So, as you can see, I'm still going to keep producing SCVs, keep producing Marines, and I'm making, supply depots. You don't want to get supply blocked. After stim, getting my +1, And around this time, like I said, the Reaper will see what the Protoss is doing. You have to be careful with the Reaper because you do want to get that scouting if he's going Robo, if he's going Twilight, and or if he's going Stargate. Now, if he was going Stargate, you have the engineering bay already. So what I would do is make a missile turret in my main base, and then put all Marines on my natural base, and also build a bunker. Stalker pressure is very good right now because of the new Stalker damage, plus the Oracle in the natural, you can lose the game pretty quickly, but with the bunker there, you should be fine. If it's a Robo Twilight build, then you can kind of just continue your build normally. You don't have to worry about too much. You still want to build a bunker because, again, the Stalker pressure. And a little bit later, if you don't see anything from Protoss, you can just put a missile turret on the natural just in case there's Dark Templar. Okay. Let's keep going. So I'm going to make a bunker right now. Again, this is not against like all-ins, just against Stalker pressure because you don't want to be bleeding Marines to it, you know, for no reason when you can prevent it with just one bunker. Now, what I'm going to do now is actually not go factory. I'm going to add a very delayed third barracks.
What's going on?
And after that barracks starts, I'm going to get a second gas in my main base. So all this time, I'll be pumping on Marines, put some Marines in the bunker, still making Marines, still making SCVs, just macroing up and already building up a huge bio army that you can hit timing with. Around this time, about 46, 47 supply. When you have above 100 gas, you can start your factory because you do want those medevacs eventually. After the factory started, get a third gas on the natural. You don't want double gas on the natural at this point simply because, well, you don't need that much gas income. So that's why I do the gas mining like this. Okay, once the third racks is done, get another tech lab. Keep making supply depots. I like to wall off my bases. Like I said, just because of adepts, DTs, charge lots, or whatever else. Huge bio army. Again, you can even put it in the main in case there's a War Prism harass, which is very popular recently. Getting starport, getting reactor on the factory as well. Make sure you're not getting supply blocked because, well, you want to produce as many units as you can. Now, my stem is done. I'm gonna get shields at the same time. And if your Reaper managed to stay alive this whole time, that's great. You can even get a scout on the third base. If not, you can just send one Marine across the map and just check the third bases if he expanded or not, so you can kind of make a decision if you want to stay defensive or push based off of that. Now, getting also concussive shells because I will need them later on. Getting medevacs, getting +1 armor as well. You want to get that as soon as the +1 weapons is done. Getting the gas because I'm already fully saturated on my third base, on my natural, sorry. So might as well get that fourth gas and start mining. Okay. Now, since I'm fully saturated on the natural, what I'm going to do is make a third base. You can see my unit production is still going, my 2 medevacs are out, and this is your first timing that you will be moving out. 2 medevacs, look at this, at 605, look at the number of Marines. You can do a lot of damage with this, and you want to hit the Protoss as fast as you can the moment these 2 medevacs come out. Now, as the units are moving across the map, you want to add +2 barracks to have that 5 barrack production off of 3 base. And I still like to make Widow Mines, even though they're nerfed, and the reason for that is, I'm going to pause right here. The reason for that is, they still deal with Zealots. It doesn't allow for Protoss to blink on top of your army. They will do a lot of splash damage, but I don't really drop them in mineral lines. I just kind of use them with my army. Now, you can see that huge army on the map. What I like to do with the army is try to attack the third base. Protosses are playing very greedy right now, and sometimes you can just do a lot of damage and even straight up kill the Protoss or kill the third base, which I had happen in my own games. So try to poke the third. If you can't, if there's too many units, just go around, try maybe to kill an observer or 2 if you see them, and then wait for your third and fourth medevac to be ready. Then load up all the units from your main base that, you know, are freshly made, and then, for example, drop them in the Protoss's main base, and then attack the natural or the third base with your main army that is on the middle of the map for me right now. So, again, if you can do some damage, go for it with the first two metavacs, but if you think that there's too many units or you just can't, try to do a drop, distract the Protoss opponent, and then attack from two sides, which again you guys will be able to see in the replays I will be showing you later. The +2 barracks that I'm making right now are again the 4th and 5th barracks that you need, and +1 armor should be about 60% done at this point. So make sure you're not an armory, you keep making supply depots, don't be potato like me because I'm supply blocked for a little bit right now. And, you know, get the armory, get the 2nd engineering bay, just so you can get your +2/+2 upgrades going, because meta right now is Protosses are going for double forge, so you need to be able to keep up with the upgrades. Another thing I wanted to mention is this is where you can start producing marauders. Till this point it was pure marine, as you guys saw, but this is around the time Protoss will be transitioning to AoE damage like High Templar Storm or Colossus or Disruptors, so you kind of want more bulkier units in order to be able to, you know, not take as much damage. From here on out, basically what you want to be doing is pressure the Protoss, attack, make sure they don't out-expand you, and just kind of have the control on the map. This is basically, like I mentioned earlier, how I like to play. So I'm going to show you guys how I would do the attack, for example. So you have a better grasp how I would go about it. So let's say the Protoss' third base is here, and I can't quite push in, he has maybe too many units. What I would do is load up these other two metavacs, drop the natural, and then when the Protoss reacts to that, for example, the metavacs are going in, I drop, I scan the third, I see the army moving towards the natural, I know I need to be careful with these two metavacs, but then I can stim in on the third and try to pick off the nexus or probes or whatever, and then the moment units arrive here, I can just retreat, wait for the Protoss units to come back on the third, and then re-engage on the natural, or perhaps even drop in the main, and if the Protoss is stuck on those two metavacs defending, then you can load these two and go into the main base. Now, that is as far as the build order itself goes. Let me know what you guys think about the build, if you like it, if it worked for you. But now, let's get into some replays and kind of show you this in action, since this was all, in theory, showing you the build order itself, but with basically no PvP action. So during the replays, I won't be talking as much about the build order itself, because I just explained that to you guys. I'll be talking about army movements and so on. So let's get into it. Alright, so we're back. This is the replay. I'll be showing you guys how the build works in the game itself. This is by no means a perfect game by me, but I just kind of wanted to show you, like I said, how the game actually looks like, and not just, in theory how things should work out, because it's always better to see something being done than being told how it should be and how you should play. So again, going for that Reaper expand once again. I'm gonna speed things up, and this is one of the maps that is sometimes very hard to break the Protoss, so you do have to be careful. Oh, this game I forgot supply depot, like a real potato I am, so don't do that. Stick to the original build order I showed you guys. You do see still a bunker right here. Like I said, I want to be safe, do not get poked or anything like that. Stim coming up, +1 coming up, and this game for us went for a Dark Shrine. Now, what I scouted is Twilight and Robo, so I actually did not see Dark Shrine. It was placed right here, and because I wasn't seeing anything, just like I mentioned in the previous game that I was not replay, but a game that I was showing you guys, because I didn't see anything, I didn't see Stargate, but I did see Robo and Twilight. I made a safety missile turret on the natural, and then just kind of continued my build normal way, but the DTs come in, and I do take some damage, but it wasn't anything game ending or anything like that. DTs are kind of like one of those units that it's hard to not take damage from. So I lost 5 SCVs, but all in all, I survived. Alright, 7. Anyway, the moment I cleared it up, and this is just the part and how I'm thinking about this and how I'm playing this build order in general is. So instantly, I go for 2 medevac drops. I know that he most likely has a 3rd base by now because it's just very, very common. I'm keeping my units in the main base because I'm making a medevac and a Viking. I want to kill this War Prism so there's no follow-up DTs or anything like that. Meanwhile, I'm trying to do drop in the main. And this, right now, is super good to do in TVP. The reason for that is Protosses don't have photon overcharge anymore. So before you would kind of avoid dropping this side because, you know, Protoss would have pylon here, 2 photon overcharges, and you're basically lost to medevacs. Now Protoss needs to cover this whole base with the stalkers, and they just don't know where you're gonna drop. So I go for this spot because it's kind of choky with all these, you know, probes mining with the buildings. So I figure that's probably the path I can do the most damage at. So the drops go in, and even with the shield battery, like you can see, his units are basically pretty much stuck, and I end up doing quite a bit of damage and kind of equalize the game. If you can see workers kill count 10 to 9. Meanwhile, the War Prism comes back, but the Viking is out. I'll be able to chase that. And because the Viking was out, and I knew I will be able to deny the War Prism, what I do is I move the rest of my army across the map. Because every time you attack a Protoss player, you should know that he will try to defend that spot, and then you want to attack the furthest point from where your drop is. I clean this up pretty quickly. And meanwhile, the drop in the main, again, do a little bit of micro. This. Killing some immortals and just getting really, really efficient fights just with that one drop. And again, the new stalkers are really good, but the mothership core being gone makes them more susceptible to just multi-pronged harass and just drops in general. Because I knew the army was in the main, I tried to attack the natural, like I was telling you guys in the previous game. And what I'm going to do right now is kind of regroup my army, get all my units across the map, because I do want to keep the pressure on the Protoss to make sure that, you know, he doesn't just mass up a big army and, you know, I just get wrecked in the late game. Now, what I'm doing right now is regrouping my army. Like I said, he sees my army here, so I know that him seeing my whole army, he will probably move the units there. And what I do is load 3 medevacs, I go into the main base. Meanwhile, I'm transitioning back at home, just like I told you guys. I'm going to add +2 barracks very soon. Those are late because of the SCV damage that I took. But again, 3 medevac drop right in the main base, and only 3 stalker is simply not enough to deal with it. Meanwhile, because this is a huge drop, you're forcing a Protoss to make a really hard decision whether he's going to go back into the main or basically lose everything, or he's going to stay with his army on the 3rd. You can see he has 2 Colossus, but the moment he sees this army, I think he actually pulls back to the bottom side. Yeah, he tries to split 1 Colossus in the main, which is a good decision by him. And because I don't have a lot of units here, it's only 4 Marauders and a Marine, what I do is just retreat with this side and keep dominating on this side of the map. I pick up the Colossus pretty easily, do a little bit of micro, pick off some more units. Look at this. This side is just retreating. No need to put more pressure. And the Protoss basically falls apart and loses the game. He even apologizes for losing the game. Or maybe he's apologizing for the Oracles or the Widow Mines. I'm not sure. But either way, that's how you execute that build in general. And that's your goal in 99% of your games. Now, if the game kept going on, what I would have done is I would load these 2 medevacs and then get them together with these 2. Again, put the pressure on the 3rd or the natural. Doesn't matter if it's this map or some other map. That's usually your goal and your kind of way of attacking against the Protoss, especially in this patch with no mothership core. And then try to drop the main, or maybe even go all the way up around and drop like here, go to the natural or something like that. Just try to split the Protoss army in 2, and that's it. Just try to do as much damage. Keep building up your army, and if you see that the Protoss is going Colossus stack, what you should do is at a starport or another starport, get a lot of Vikings and then do big timing push with about 14 to 16 Vikings with +1 ship weapons against the Colossus. It should be a really strong timing, and if you do this part of the game, kind of like the mid game well, you should be able to just hit a strong timing and kill the Protoss. And that is it from this guide. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, the game might change even in a week. If that does happen, if there's some serious shifts in the meta game, or there's a new build order that I like more than this one, I will make a video about that one as well. And yeah, if you enjoyed this, if you like my videos, make sure to like and subscribe for more future videos. Leave me a comment down below if you tried out this build order, if you're maybe already playing it, and what would you like to see me make a guide for next. Is it TVZ? Is it maybe a mech guide against any race? Any guide in general, let me know, and I'll try my best to accommodate everyone. I want to thank you guys for watching. I want you to have a nice day. This was Beastyqt, and I will see you guys next time.